Having trouble with your garage door? Problem solved. Call Direct Service Overhead Garage Door Company. We're your go-to team for garage door repair, new garage doors, openers, and more. We offer same-day service. We're always ready when you need us. Best of all, you can book your appointment online or talk to a live operator 24/7. No machines, no waiting. So whether it's a broken spring or a brand new garage door, trust the local experts at Direct Service Garage Doors. Call us today or visit directserviceoverhead.com.
Oh, man, that's what I'm talking about, baby. That's it right there. Once again, Arkansas goes on the road and, belt to ass on the LSU Corn Dogs. LSU Tigers. Arkansas just absolutely put a whooping on the Tigers. Oh, man, you love to see it. You get the sweep. You love it, love it, love it, love it, as things should be. Arkansas just so much better than LSU basketball. And that's what's great about this. Hey, appreciate you guys for being here. Do me a solid. Make sure you like the Tuss Talk tweeting of the show, and sharing is caring. And hit the subscribe button as we allow people a few minutes to get in here. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. The plan is to try and go. We're going to try and go live tomorrow night, 6:30. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like 2026, as I mentioned last week, has just been all over the place. It's been really difficult to nail down a good time to go live. It's been an absolute. It's just been a shit show to start the year. So we're doing our best. I'm doing my best to try and keep these lives going. But again, make sure you have the notification bell clicked, because then the odds are in my favor for you to get the notification, or are in your favor. But then again, it's like there's a maybe 40% chance you won't get the notification. All right. Oh, man. We have the defense tonight. You feel like you want to give the gold chain to the defense. Like, truly. I am really impressed with this turnaround, and it's on defense. And I know you have to consider the opponent. I realize that. But it's not like Arkansas is out there playing with like a 9 or 10 man rotation. They have two guys who have been, I don't want to say they've been key pieces. Okay. They've not been, Knox and Wagner have not been key. We talked about this last time. But it's still two guys that can get you some minutes off the freaking floor that'll help you out, help you get a breather when you need it. Arkansas they had their hands on their hips, in the first 7 minutes of this game. And they were worn out, and it's listen, I know they're young, they're spry young men. Okay, fine. But even that, I mean, getting worn out that quickly, it's usually a sign like, hey, man, they need to get someone else out there, give them a little bit of a breather. So give them 5 or 6 minutes just to catch their breath. Of course, that would be like 2 or 3 minutes off not even 3 minutes off the actual clock. You are a little bit concerned about Ewan. If you guys missed it, Ewan, he caught one, man, right on the forehead, and he was just. I mean, that's just what his forehead was. That's what was going on with Ewan. I mean, my man was bleeding. And so that's obviously going to require some stitches, slap a Band-Aid, and get ready for Auburn. Because guess what? Auburn lost again in a game where they kind of fought against Vanderbilt, and they lose again. Now they're in panic mode. Auburn's in panic mode, and they're coming to Bud Walton Arena, and this is a huge game for them. And we know what they did last time these two teams played. So, yeah, let me read comments here really quick. The looming recruiting win in an on-the-court blowout. What a day for the Hogs. The Celtics. What's up, Mitch? Long time no see, my friend. Where have you been, Mitchell? Who's Nell's journey with God, and why would you ask that? I swear that's got to be a Kentucky fan. Just happy to see them play together to their potential and not let up. Acuff is next level. Listen. I'm giving the gold chain. We're just going to knock this out. I'm giving the gold chain to the defensive effort. That's who's getting the gold chain. The defense by Arkansas tonight. I understand the LSU was down, especially a couple of pieces there. One in particular, really a big piece for them not playing tonight. I get that. But we've seen Arkansas's defense struggle at home against inferior talent, as we've mentioned before. So congratulations to the entire – well, what was the rotation tonight? They ended up playing like 9 or 10, but we know who really got the minutes. So the 7-man rotation tonight, they're getting this heavy – they get the post-game gold chain. The defensive effort tonight was fantastic. It was fantastic. So we're going to put the gold chain, the one that I can wear, the entire. So this way, someone's going to come in and ask who got the gold chain. You'll know your boy's wearing the chain. Oh, he already handed it out. And then you're going to ask anyways because, you don't know. All right, we do have a poll up. The poll is, will the Hogs continue to look this good on defense moving forward? 86% of you say yes. 86% of you say yes. Okay. All right. You guys are bought in, man. I'm loving it. Hey, I listen, I didn't think I'm going to be real. I thought LSU, I'll own it, man. I was wrong. I thought LSU was going to come out inspired and we were going to go back to the old way of playing defense tonight. Even without LSU missing some pieces, I wondered if, we know LSU, even though they're out of it. I mean, let's be real. They were 2-8 coming into this game. They're out of it. Their overall record, they're not good. Their net rank. This was a quad 1 win, by the way, for Arkansas, but they're in the 50s in the net ranking. They're going to have to do work. I kind of wondered if they wouldn't just go all out, go desperate, and Sutton is certainly a capable player. We know Nwoko is capable of racking up a shit ton of rebounds. He only had 8 tonight. Kind of surprised he didn't end up with about 10. He did have some foul trouble, so that might have been why. He only had 3 points, but he had 8 rebounds. We know they've got some guys that can score, and Sutton is someone who could do that. Sutton was not very good tonight either. He was 7 of 16. I mean, that's not terrible, but 1 of 5 outside, 6 boards for him. Pablo Tamba, was it Tamba last time that had did he that game, it feels like that was a year ago. Whatever, right? Those are 2 different teams that took the floor a year ago. Those are 2 different teams, or not a year ago, earlier in the year. Sorry. Those are 2 different teams. It is 10:15 at night. I despise 8 p.m. tip-off games, man. I despise them with every atom in my body. I hate 8 p.m. tip-offs on weeknights. Hell, I don't like them on Saturday nights either. But whatever. You got another one on Saturday night, right? Again, we mentioned Auburn. You're going to play them at 7:30. That sucks, man. I kind of wondered if LSU was just going to come out and just play flawless, because that also seems to happen against Arkansas too, doesn't it? Arkansas, I mean, that tells you how bad, how low I have thought of this Arkansas defense all year. Now, again, LSU down 2 key guys. Arkansas could not miss. My God. Arkansas could not. Did you see Brazil? What was it? I don't know how many minutes to go in the second half. He's like falling down, and it was a clean move by him. It wasn't luck. I heard those announcers say, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? That was fantastic. And he's falling down, and he makes this and one I've never seen the guy make before in the entire time he's been here. Right? He's either been a cleanup man around the post. This year he's knocking down the 3 ball. He's trying to figure out how to dribble drive to the rim. If you guys noticed that, he's trying to do that with that little pump fake out in the perimeter, and then he tries to drive it home. Who the hell's going to stop that? Especially if whoever's guarding him falls for that little pump fake, and they still do. He's been doing it like it seems like since conference play. He's just become Brazil is just incredible. When he has nights like this, man, he is just so hard to stop. You'd think he had 20-something points tonight, but I mean, this man had a double-double. What was that? How many has he had this year? I don't even know. It seems like now we're starting to get to. Are we getting into two hands territory when it comes to Brazil's double-doubles, or is it like 5? Or is it like 4 or 5? I don't know. At any rate, I'm loving what I'm seeing. 91-62. Arkansas's defense, if you noticed, they collapsed on anyone. Like, it wasn't just one player, trying to drop down on the LSU player who had the ball underneath the rim. It was like 2 or 3 guys were collapsing on top of him and getting their hands up. There was only a couple like obvious mistakes. I saw Sealy at one point. And he's young. He's a freshman, right? Kid out of Springdale. He just didn't get his hands up. I think had he, it was earlier in the first half. Had he gotten his hands up, I think he would have had a clean block or at least alter the shot. And he didn't, and it was an easy bucket for LSU in the paint. I think the craziest thing, first off, Arkansas, just to tell you, to give you an idea of just how well they were shooting. I mean, they got off to a 10-2 start. Have they done that all year on the road this in SEC play this year? They were 8-0. They started off 8-0, got off to a 10-2. I think it was a 12-2 or 12-3, 12-4 run or something at one point. Just a good start. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see the first few minutes because, for whatever reason, Hulu. I couldn't find the game because, the Vanderbilt-Auburn game was running over. So I missed the first, however many minutes. But, again, just really impressed with Arkansas's defense tonight. Like, it feels like that's it. The defense was great. LSU could not buy a bucket. But, again, a lot of that had to do with Arkansas's defense. There's no doubt. That had to do with the way Arkansas was playing defense tonight. It was so impressive. And shots just weren't falling for LSU either. They're missing guys. I don't know. There were like 15 people at the game. I don't know. Let's look at the actual deep stat. Let's go to the deep numbers first. We usually go the other way around. Let's start with the deep numbers. Arkansas had 64 points in the paint. Again, that's got to be a season high in the SEC, at least in the SEC. I don't recall them scoring 60 points at any point in the year in the paint. I can't remember what they did. Again, I've got a real bad habit of scrubbing the last game and moving on to the next game, but 20 points off turnovers, 10 second chance points. They weren't missing shots, 21. There you go. I do remember talking about this in the last game. Arkansas is the kind of team, if you're going to play fast tempo up and down the floor, you want to try and match Arkansas's athleticism. You want to try and, you don't really care. Like, if you're not getting back playing defense on these guys quickly in transition, you're going to get cooked. And Arkansas with 21 points, fast break points tonight. They haven't done that in if I can remember correctly, in the last 2-3 games. They've not broken 20 fast break points, and they did it tonight with 21. And you see again the result: 91 points on the board there, right? 64 of your points in the paint, 7 steals tonight, 10 blocks for this team. Again, the defense was just fantastic. 23 of 34 layups. The fact that they had 34 layup opportunities, 3 of 4 on dunks, just incredible, man. Incredible. They had 20, what was it? They had 20 paint points in like the first, 12 minutes or something. I mean, they were cooking, man. And the funny part is Pringle was the leading scorer for Arkansas in like the first 3 minutes of the game. How often does that happen? Not very often. Again, very impressed with Arkansas. Didn't exactly crush LSU on the boards. I think actually LSU ended up with more rebounds. We'll double check. Yeah, according to ESPN, it's 43-36 on the boards. I'm not in love with the 24 offensive rebounds. I don't know what Arkansas does on like LSU is just boxing them out, and this is pretty common. Arkansas is not a good defensive rebounding team. I guess the crazy thing is you can give up 43 rebounds to your 36, and it's like, who really cares? You had, in a game like this where you just were dominating, you're shooting north of 55%, for a good portion of the game. You're shooting 75% at the free throw line on the road with 24 attempts. That's pretty good. That's where you should be, right? That's where Arkansas should be. Everything else was just it was just too easy. I mean, I again don't know what, and your defense provides you with these opportunities. Again with the steals and the blocks, and you're getting points off these plays. You're forcing LSU. I mean, they had 14 turnovers tonight. It was just it was great. Hey, for those of you who are just coming in, make sure you hit the like button, share the content because sharing is caring, and make sure you hit the subscribe button. Steven, what's up, man? I like TB, but Acuff is tops. Acuff is tops modern for me. Tops modern. I like TB though because he has stuck around two different types of favorites for sure. So Steven, yeah, again, man. I mean, Brazil tonight. Brazil was fantastic. I mean, he really was. He was looking for swats every defensive possession, every single defensive possession. He's looking for swats. He's just slapping the ball around in the air. 64 points in the paint. That's big time, says John Oliver. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Even against the weak non-cons, I don't know that they've done that. It's incredible. Brian Barton, appreciate you. Ty, go Hogs. Beat Auburn. Make Bud Walton great again. Make Bud Walton Arena great again. I dare you to print those hats. Woo Pig Ty, thanks for getting on here late with us. Hey, I appreciate you, Steven. And if you guys really want to show your appreciation for an independent channel, a truly independent channel, share the content. Share it, please. Hit the retweet on Tuss Talk with Ty on Twitter, on X, whatever it's called now. I was asking if he was good to play, Ty. Wait, who? Oh, all right, my bad. Was I okay? Oh, not his orientation. Man, you guys, I mean, you try doing this, all right? It's not easy because there's certainly been those kind of jokes made. I hope so. Use DJ and Knox for other guys. Take a break. They're going to need to get healthy. There's no doubt. Like they are going to need to be healthy. It's crazy how much better Arkansas is playing defensively without Knox and without Wagner, especially without Knox, right? Knox, we know, can get you some good defensive minutes on the floor. I mean, he can. It seems rare when I'm watching Arkansas play where I'm going, I shouldn't say rare, just not as common as some of the other guys. I rarely do I find myself freaking out about Knox's defensive play. Like it's just, I'll tell you what is rare. He doesn't have like back-to-back bad defensive possessions that I've noticed. Maybe I've missed some stuff. I'm sure I have. Eyes do wander and whatnot. I see Austin, transplanted Texan with the retweet. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you. Appreciate those of you that are retweeting the show. Yeah. So where are we going with this? I had something pulled up here and it's gone. I was going to go somewhere with something and I forgot what it was. Oh, well, talking about just how much better Arkansas's played defensively lately. This is that point in the year, and I'm glad they brought it up on the broadcast. Cal's teams, and Kentucky fans would hate to admit this, they probably won't, but his teams do get better as the year goes on. Now, unfortunately, in the 2020s, as we all know, while at Kentucky since 2020, they struggled to get any kind of momentum carried into March. Now, he was able to do that at Arkansas. It was very clear, the latter half of the season, Arkansas had turned things around. And again, it had to do with Brazil's game. Oh my God. Adu, the list goes on. Number of guys playing better on both ends of the floor. You felt like you had more than just one or two-way guys on the floor, guys that could play on both ends. That's the question for this team this year. Like, how many of these guys, and as much heat as we want to put on the bigs, the guards had a tendency up until the last couple of games. They're getting beat off the dribble, man. They're giving it easy, and I've complained about this all year long, and I'll listen to other shows. I'm like, why are you guys not talking about these guards getting beat off the damn dribble? Why are we not talking about this? And that includes arguably one of the top freshmen in college basketball right now in Acuff. It's one of the reasons why, if you look at a draft board, that in his 6'2", 6'3" frame, even, they're wanting a 6'5", 6'6" point guard, I guess. But his defense is the other thing that kind of keeps him out of that top 5, top 6, position when you're talking about the NBA draft. Now, I realize a lot of you don't care about the NBA draft, and I get it. I would argue probably about 10% of my audience actually gives a damn about the NBA. My care has been waning over the last couple of seasons, and that's even with the Celtics going on a great run. I've been a Celtics fan for over 2 decades. 3 decades. I've been a Celtics fan for a very long time, and I find myself just kind of like, yeah, all right, cool, they're on, I guess I'll watch. And no, that has nothing to do with the Tatum injury or anything like that. But I mean, I get it. But I do like keeping up with this stuff when you're talking about the players, because it does kind of tell you what the ceiling of a guy is and what he's capable of doing for you, at the moment while he's on your roster. And these guys are talking about him being talking about Acuff being a lottery pick, and you got Leak, who's now you're starting to see Leak. Malik is starting to move up these NBA draft boards. We're starting to see him get pulled out of the second round, and maybe either at the top of the second round or at the tail end of the first round. And you see it on the floor when you watch these guys play. And to be fair, Leak has had his struggles lately, but man, when he's at his best, him and Acuff, I mean, tonight is your result, right? I mean, tonight is something you get. Both of these cats over 20 points tonight. Has that happened all year in SEC play? I don't think so. 28 points for Acuff. 28 points for Acuff. 20 for Leak, who also had 0 turnovers and 1 assist. Now, Acuff did make some mistakes tonight. He had 4 turnovers. I would argue, all turnovers are careless if you talk to a coach. It was clear to me about 2, maybe 3 out of the 4 were definitely just careless, either him just losing the ball, not paying attention or whatever, but rare that this dude has 4 turnovers in a game. When was the last time he had 4 turnovers in a game? It's really rare. So, but tonight is the result, and I guarantee you if Leak continues to play like this and they get better on the defensive end of the floor, he will move up that draft board. And you could have 2, I don't know about 2 lottery picks, but probably 2 first-round draft picks, maybe even 2 top 20 picks. So it's good to see, man. I'll tell you what I love, though. We're getting to see Sealy. He's getting those minutes. I think he logged, I don't know what he had tonight. Okay, ESPN says 13. I would have guessed more. What does the stat broadcast say? I felt like he had more minutes. No, they say 13 too. Okay. -8 too when he was. Well, and he had, he was out there during junk time too when Arkansas had their backups in. But Sealy, still someone who's you know what? He's not. I don't know what he's going to move into moving forward. I hope he comes back next year. I hope he doesn't transfer. Sealy could be could be really solid for Arkansas on defense, and we're seeing him kind of find that in his role. Yeah, he looks lost sometimes, and he's kind of like a ball of lightning out there, kind of bouncing everywhere. But man, Sealy, he probably needs to calm down a little bit. Gain a little bit of maturity, understand the demands of what Cal wants out of a guy to get more minutes. Sealy could turn into a fantastic defensive player for Arkansas. And I really think this is a guy, year 2, year 3, you'll start to see him, mold into that caliber of player. But I love seeing him getting the minutes. You hate it that it's at the, because you got a couple of guys that are out, but still it's good that Sealy's getting these minutes. And who knows, maybe by the time Knox comes back and Wagner comes back, maybe you give, I guess that's going to be the question by the time, these guys are healthy and they're back. Is Sealy someone who you might throw into the rotation in an actual tough SEC game? You've got Florida coming up soon. You got, Bama, Florida, you got to go to Missouri. You got A&M coming to town. You got some tough games. Like we said, this tough stretch is coming up for Arkansas. Maybe is Sealy working his way into getting a few minutes in those type of games, and it's hopefully it'll help out your rotation. It'll get guys a little bit more rest. and it'll complete your roster. I don't think Sealy's the guy you're waiting on in the way that you're waiting on some guys last year to come up. Those were older veteran players. It seems like we're waiting all year for Nelly to come along. But Brazil and Adu and those guys, I don't know that Sealy's going to step into that role. Those are older, mature guys that have been around for a little while. But I do wonder if Sealy can't turn into that type of player that maybe he can get you 2 or 3 minutes and get some guys a few minutes of rest. While he's out there playing that sporadic ass defense. He's got to calm down. He only had 3 fouls tonight, but again, he only played 13 minutes. So he does play a little reckless on defense, but man, you kind of love to see it. He's just kind of a ball of lightning out there, and it's good to see, Acuff needs to go to Atlanta Hawks. They need a point guard, says Gunny. Yeah. I can think of a few places. I agree, Ty. Sealy needs to make better ball decisions. That is his issue. Yeah, and I think, too, on defense, I wonder if he's kind of floating away from – what the hell was that? I just felt something brush by my leg, and there's no other – that was weird. What was I saying? That was weird. There's no animal in here. My cat, Rand, is not in here. None of the dogs. That was really freaky. What the hell was I saying? Sealy. Oh, yeah, I wonder sometimes if Sealy might be playing a little bit out of position on defense, but you just love watching him play, man. Sealy is very fun to watch play. I mean, he just is. He wasn't as, I would say if he had kind of an off night between these two games, I felt like he played better in the last game than he did tonight, but he was still, again, had just 1 turnover, but he did have an assist. He was 50% at the free throw line. Okay, so LSU, what the hell happened? Listen, Arkansas's defense is what happened. Now, again, to be fair, LSU, I swear to God, at one point these guys had made like 18 field goals by halfway through the second half, or maybe it was towards the bottom of the second. 18 out of like 60-something, 66 field. It was terrible. And if you watch them, I'm telling you, go back and watch Arkansas underneath the rim against LSU. I mean, there's a reason why they had 10 blocks. They were just jumping all over these guys, and I loved it. And it was clean. It's not like, a lot of missed calls. Oh no! Oh my God! Whole bunch of missed calls. I mean, LSU was 17-27. 27 attempts at the line, at the free throw line. They were 17-27. It's not like they weren't calling fouls on Arkansas, but they were still, some of those were just kind of silly fouls. I'm talking about when they would corral the inside, they were playing pretty clean ball, making contact with the ball, not the player, getting their hands up. They were crashing down on anyone. They were flooding the lanes. It was not easy to dribble drive on Arkansas. And, again, for anyone who's coming in late, well, yeah, Ty, they're missing these guys. Okay, yeah, no, they're missing some guys. I get it. That's fair. Arkansas is missing a couple of guys too, although they're not key pieces the way that LSU was missing those guys. But again, like I said at the beginning of the show, or the first several minutes, Arkansas has looked worse at home on defense against worse opponents, smaller opponents, far less skilled opponents. So Arkansas is starting to build. They're building a foundation on defense, and I want to see this carry, man. Now, yeah, they scored 91 points. You got to love what they did on offense, too. But LSU shot 21. They ended up shooting 21 of 68. That's 31% at home. At some point, LSU fans are going to say, well, the ball, the ball just wasn't dropping. And that's fair. There were a lot of shots that just were not dropping. But 21 of 68, that's not all that. That's not everything right there. What was happening was Arkansas was altering looks. They weren't giving up as many perimeter looks outside. They were chasing them out off the line. They were crashing around the post, and they were not giving up underneath the field goal. I mean, there was more effort, energy, and tenacity under that damn rim tonight than I've seen all year. And I want that to carry, like we mentioned before. I want that to carry into the next game, damn it. 3 of 21 outside. Why? Well, again, that's probably where you can argue there were several shots that just were not dropping for them. But there are a lot of altered looks there. I think they even had a couple blocks off three-point attempts by LSU. It just was a nightmare for the Tigers. It was a mix of everything, but mostly Arkansas's defense. They had 43 rebounds. They do beat you on the boards. I was not loving Arkansas as good as they were playing on defense. It's like they always sacrifice something. It's like, oh, well, no, their perimeter defense was better tonight. Oh, but they gave up a ass ton of points in the paint. Okay, well, all right, tonight they actually were really good, right? I mean, again, they held these guys at 31% shooting. Oh, cool. They had 21 offensive rebounds. They had 21 offensive rebounds tonight. I mean, my God, 21 and 22. They had one less offensive rebound than defensive rebound, or one less defensive rebound. Both teams did commit 19 fouls. Did think there was some tacky stuff, but overall, again, this is like 2-3 games in a row where I feel like the officiating, I don't know, maybe someone's talking to these guys like, hey, shut the hell up, swallow your whistle, let them play, and do it on both ends for both the teams. I kind of felt like we got that once again, especially after what we've seen in SEC officiating. But yeah, so it's always like Arkansas sacrifices something. Oh, their defense is great, but damn, I mean, you cannot give up. What was it, like 4 offensive boards on a single possession to LSU? Nwoko had 6 offensive rebounds for them tonight, right? They had a couple of guys, Sutton and Tamba, with 3 offensive boards. A couple of guys off the bench, Miller and Bobbitt, both had a couple of offensive boards. Just not, yeah, that can't happen again. And I understand the situation here with, LSU, throwing up desperate shots, and sometimes the ball just fell in their hands. But you got to fix that, man. You cannot give up 21 offensive boards again. You can't do that. You do that to Auburn, they're going to beat you, okay? Auburn is far better than LSU. You do that again this year, you do that at any point, you're going to lose games. And it just turns out that tonight Arkansas, LSU couldn't buy a bucket, and Arkansas's defense was just swarming. Again, it was so good to see, It does feel weird whenever we have a good night with the refs, right? Right? It does feel weird. That's 2 games in a row now, right? Half of those offensive rebounds were on 2 possessions. Yeah, isn't that crazy? And I swear to God that later in the game, I think that on a single possession, they had like 4 or 5 offensive rebounds. That's just crazy. This is the first road game where our guys made it look easy, says Gunny. Yeah. Tell you what, I know LSU is hot garbage. I would say they're cheeks. I'd say they're booty cheeks. But it's never easy to do that to LSU and Baton Rouge, says Steven. Yeah, they've had some success down there, but I don't know. This has got to be one of the biggest. Games slip my mind all the time, and I'll forget a game, and it's like, oh hell, they did that in 2019 or 2020. Tonight was embarrassing for LSU. That's what matters, right? Q1 win is a Q1 win. Yeah, I would agree with that, John. It is. Don't worry, it's just paranormal activity. That was weird, dude. That felt like something brushed by my leg, and I was like, what was that? That was very strange. Let's see. He may have to, says Fencer, he may have to what? We don't have depth. What are you talking about? You talking about Sealy? Sealy is going to help us win a game in the tourney, says Steven. I don't know why. But I just have a feeling. But he's definitely going to ball next year. I'm telling you, give this kid a year or two. I want him to do this in a Razorback jersey so bad. I want him to be the man in a Razorback jersey. And something tells me, I don't know that he's going to put up a ton of points. I don't know if that's ever going to be a part of his game or not. But I think potential's there. You're right. You never know beyond the first year. You never know. Guys develop, that year 2 jump. I mean, we've seen it, right? We've seen players at Arkansas that year 2 jump. We've seen it be incredible. But Sealy strikes me as a guy that could be, that piece that you need, to play well around the post on defense. He's going to swat balls, get his hand. Oh, he's got to work on getting his hands up a little bit more. Just the sporadic energy that he brings, And who knows? He might just be a bench guy for whoever he plays for. But he's that guy that provides that spark off the bench and plays great defense. So again tonight, Arkansas 64 points in the paint, 20 points off turns. All right, 10 second chance points, 21 fast break points, 23 of 34 layups. Again, that's got to be the most attempts. It is an SEC play. 23 of 34. It is an SEC play. So, and you look again, 56% shooting for Arkansas from the floor. Now, was I surprised at just 12 3-point shot? No. In fact, someone texted me that right before I went live. Was I surprised at the 12 attempts outside? No. Because of how easy it was for Arkansas to score, for how quickly they were moving and transitioning and moving the ball down the floor. They didn't need to take those threes. Now, you're not happy with 3 of 12. You want that like 6 of 12, right? Like 50% shooting, right? If you're that far down, if you're just 12 attempts, you better be 5 or 6 of 12. That's what you want to see. Good shot selection outside, and especially with LSU was trying to chase out off the perimeter. And then Arkansas would just move it inside. They would just get the ball inside. And great ball movement. Not great. Really good ball movement, though. Arkansas as a team, though, would only have 10 assists. But they did have 10 turnovers. And again, some of that was Acuff just kind of, I don't know what he was doing. Just had a couple of brief moments. If you notice, he gets down on himself. I don't know if you guys watch him. If, there's a play where he slid. It was the end of the half, actually. End of the first half. And he lost control or something. I didn't catch the replay, and it looked like he slipped. Saw a lot of guys slipping, actually. But you watch him trotting back to the other end of the floor, and he is just shaking his head and just kind of talking to himself. He holds himself to such a high standard. But the thing that he does do, listen, I know the natural reaction, and I've noticed this as I've gotten older, too. Now I'm in my 40s, and I've noticed I'm catching myself more often like, oh, don't be down on yourself, kid. Don't be down on yourself, Darius Acuff. You're fine. You're going to be okay. If you do that, you're going to get inside your head. You're going to foul and a whole bunch of turnovers, although he did have 4 turnovers tonight, and you're going to miss a bunch of shots. What did he do? He was now it's 22 attempts. That's a lot. He's 13 to 22, but he has 28 points. Couple of boards and 5 assists. Yeah, I mean, you know what? He bounces back. I guess he needs to give himself a pep talk, and I'm okay with it. Sometimes maybe I'm not saying he's a head case. I'm not saying that at all. But sometimes maybe you need to be a little hard on yourself. Maybe that's okay. Not too hard, just a little hard. Oof, better watch that. You know what I'm saying, okay? But I'm glad he doesn't dwell on it the whole game. It doesn't force him to get angry. We've seen like Brazil's a guy that'll you'll see him he'll have these moments, right? He'll have these little moments, whether it's a tiff with a fan going into the locker room, or he'll start to really get in the face of some of these guys on the opposing bench, right? Not to the bench, but I mean on the floor, the other teams, what I'm trying to say. We'll see him. He doesn't get teed up a lot, but you could see he kind of sometimes he wears his emotions on his sleeve a little bit. And I think it can force him to not play very well. Not that it's like noticeably terrible, but it does seem like he's getting angry and he's getting mad and he's starting to not play as well. And now he's getting fouls and he's getting close to getting teed up. So Acuff is the opposite. It's like he's mad at himself. He probably expects himself to play at an extremely high level, and then he goes out and he does it. Man, oh man. The more he plays, though, I don't know how you keep him out of the top 10. I really don't. Like, I don't know that he's going to make a top 5 in the draft. Who knows? Again, they're going to use his defense against him, his 6'2", 6'3" frame against him as a point guard in this day and age. But he's just silky smooth. He's so fun to watch, man. He is so fun to watch. Rock, paper, scissors was a nice touch. Yeah. It seems like Acuff has an even better night when the team is on as well. This is the kind of team that could very well get hot 5 games in a row. Yeah. The most we've ever won at LSU before tonight was 1998 by 17. We literally doubled that and then some, says Celtics for life. Mitchell, that's wow. That's kind of crazy, actually. You think about how bad some of those LSU teams have been. That's actually kind of crazy. 2022 was our last win in Baton Rouge. Yeah. Ty, what will happen to Ewan? Is Ewan going to be available? I haven't gotten an update yet. It certainly looked like, so he caught an elbow to the forehead, was just gushing blood. Probably stitches would be my guess. It was a good move. You know, of course, you were up at the time, like 25, 28 points, whatever it was. The good move, take him to the locker room. And I think he's going to be fine, but I don't know. I don't want to speak too quickly here on that, but my gut reaction is that Ewan, he's going to get some stitches, probably slap a Band-Aid on it, and then we'll see. The broadcast said this is our most 20-plus point wins in the SEC since the 90s. Here's what I'm going to say, and I debated saving this for tomorrow night. I'm trying to go live tomorrow night at 6:30, God willing. Remember, hit the notification bell. Make sure you're subscribed. They're moving the bar, and they're playing at they're playing at a higher level on defense lately. Again, I want to make it clear. I want to see them do this against Auburn, who has now they're kind of having a weird year. This is a very strange year for Auburn. Of course, it doesn't help that Pearl stepped down or retired when he did, but they were on that nice little 4-game win streak in SEC play. When Arkansas went there, Auburn beat the living hell out of them, 95-73. I mean, that was belt to ass. I didn't actually get a chance to watch their games against Georgia and A&M. I know the Georgia game was fairly close, and that was at a time when Georgia was playing really good. I think they only lost by like 4 points, but it's like the only game, I think, it's either like one of 2 or 3 games this year that both teams scored at least 100 points. Auburn is capable. They score. It's like top 25 or top 30 in the country. They're 85 points a game. But right now they're riding a 3-game losing streak. They're riding a 2-game well, I don't know if you call it a losing streak when it's back-to-back SEC games. They lost to Georgia and to A&M, and then they hosted Arkansas and again beat the brakes off of. Now they're on a 3-game losing streak in games where they were in and played really well in all 3, including a game on the road at Tennessee. But I said when they beat Arkansas, I'm going to beat this damn drum. I was not that impressed with Auburn, even leading into that game against Arkansas. After that game, they would go on the road and lose by 10 points to Mizzou. If I remember right, that was a game they kind of fought back in the end. Anyways, whatever. They lost by 10, and then they went on a 4-game streak, and people are telling me, they're not so mid now. Well, now they've lost 3 games to 3 quality opponents. They did beat Florida. Again, Florida's another damn team that's weird. Now it's like Florida's starting to play better. Very streaky year in the SEC. I don't know what to expect from anybody anymore. I wasn't expecting Arkansas to heighten their defense up the way they have the last couple of games. Wasn't expecting Auburn after that 4-game win streak to then go on a 3-game losing streak. Wasn't expecting Florida to be so up and down this year. Thought Tennessee would be a lot better this year. Weird year, and yet you have more teams right now. According to the net rankings, I think it's like in the top 60 or what I heard them talk about. It's like the most SEC teams in the top 64 of the net rankings. Like there's no other conference with as many top 65 or whatever the hell that number was they spouted off tonight. No other team. Like the Big Ten was behind Arkansas or behind the SEC by a team or two. It's a very bizarre year, and I don't know that I would pick an SEC team to win the whole thing. I don't know that I'd pick Florida, even though they're 8-2 right now in conference play, or Kentucky, who's playing better ball. They're 8-3, but they get the week off, so we won't hear from them again until Saturday. So Arkansas's managed to catch up now. Now they're a half a game back. Of course, we'll have some games tomorrow. It's just a weird year, and yet if somehow you can manage, you take care of business against Auburn. Getting back to originally what I was trying to say, you go on the road against Alabama, who again is playing. I'm so glad, by the way. Oh my God, Bediako, NATO. Oh, you're such a sleazeball. They did win. They beat Auburn. Okay, but they got thumped by Florida. Lost a close one to A&M. I don't know what to make of Bama either. Right now, I would chalk that up as probably an L for Arkansas just because it's in Tuscaloosa. But you've got a legit shot here, maybe winning a couple games. I didn't think at the beginning of the year that you would win. Again, right now, I would say at Bama is a 50-50 game. I'm leaning towards Florida, or excuse me, Bama. And then you've got Missouri, A&M, and then you're at Florida. I think that right now I'm leaning towards Florida, not even 50-50. It's probably like 60-40. But then Texas and Missouri. You got a shot at sweeping Missouri this year, even though they're really good at home. It's just kind of wild. And that's what's been the most entertaining about this season, in all honesty. It's just how wide open the SEC really is. It really does feel like anybody who's not like, it's like all the way down to Texas. All these teams that are 2 games out, 2.5 games out, anyone could slip up and all of a sudden they find themselves in a position where they could win the SEC regular season. And obviously Arkansas is now a half game out. It's a fantastic year. It's been some of the most entertaining basketball. And I catch myself, if I'm playing Arc Raiders or something, I'll always have a basketball game on the computer. And while I'm waiting to load up on Raiders or waiting on my friends, I'm sitting here watching basketball. And, and I typically do that every year anyways, but I'm actually like to the point where I'm like focusing on the game as much as I am, Arc Raiders, or if I'm playing EA College Football 2-6 or whatever the hell that shitty game, so I'm loving it, man. I love how wide open this is. And yet it's so good because Arkansas, maybe they're finding themselves on defense. They're playing at a heightened level on both ends of the floor, and they're only a half game out now in first place in the SEC. Despite their kind of crappy, it's not been a perfect year. It's not been perfect. Auburn beat you pretty good. Georgia beat you good. Kentucky beat you in Bud Walton. And yet, despite all that, you're still right in the mix, man. It's been a lot of fun. And again, it's kind of crazy that you've got to go all the way down. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams right now legitimately have a shot at winning the SEC. Now, obviously, I don't think Texas does. Missouri won't. I don't think Alabama will, and I don't think Tennessee will. I think it's probably going to come down to Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, or A&M. And yet, who knows? That's what's great about college ball. You get hot, anything can happen. Oof, okay. Florida got too many bigs. Well, a lot of people seem to think their guards are coming around. I need to catch Florida. I need to watch them play a little more. I have not actually watched them play a lot. I think Florida will be the last game we lose, says Gunny. Oof. Yeah, I don't know. If you can go into Tuscaloosa and win that game, and you've beaten Auburn, and you've got a 4-game win streak against at least a couple of quality I mean, there's quad ones in there. Well, tonight was a quad one. Yeah, you kind of feel like if you beat Auburn, you go into Bama, you beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa, then you should be good enough to beat Missouri and A&M at home. Now, A&M has been surprisingly good. A&M to me this year is kind of I don't know, and they've lost back-to-back games. They lost a close one in Tuscaloosa, 100-97, and then they got Florida took care of business, man. Beat them by like 18, 19 points or whatever. They got to play Missouri tomorrow night at 8 p.m., and that might be a game worth watching. It is at home, so yeah, I'd definitely take A&M in that game, but who knows? But I do think A&M is like, that's like, you got to pay attention to them. I don't know. Not shocked that they lost to both Bama and Florida. but they are kind of in that category up there with those two teams, Arkansas and Kentucky. They're in that category. Tennessee, you kind of throw around in there a little bit. Where exactly do they fall in the pecking order? I don't know. So you've got that game left too. You got A&M. Fortunately, it's inside Bud Walton Arena. So all right, what are we at here? Okay, whoa, look at that, 50 minutes. Seems like we are always disrespected. I don't know. I think Acuff. Let's see. I think Acuff will have a huge chip on his shoulder playing against Fland. Might be the. Why would Acuff though? Why would Acuff have a chip on his shoulder against Fland? Wouldn't it be the other way around? Wouldn't it be Fland with kind of a chip on his shoulder? If anybody was to have one, Florida again is starting to figure it out, man. Florida's starting to figure it out. They beat the hell out of A&M at A&M. They beat Bama. Man, they held South, and I know South Carolina is cheeks. We're finding out that it's between them, LSU, and Oklahoma, the worst teams in the SEC. But holy God, held South Carolina to 48 points. Florida Gators did, held them to 48 points. And yeah, we know how good the rebound. It's the best rebounding. It's incredible. That's going to be an interesting game. You talk about a clash of style of play between Florida and Arkansas. That's going to be interesting. Damn, I wish I would almost rather. I'm fine with them playing down there. I would lean towards Florida, but you never know. I mean, Cal has one in him every year. He has a couple in him every year that he just wins games he's not supposed to win. And it started really with Rupp, going to Rupp Arena last year and getting that win. Maybe they go down there and they get the upset. They beat Florida. But Florida is starting to figure it out. If there's anybody right now that I would take to go the furthest in the SEC, it would be in the tournament, the NCAA tournament. It would probably be Florida. Again, they're starting to figure things out. I mean, they've won. Pull up their page. They've lost one game in like the last 10. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so they're 10 of their last 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So they've lost just 2 of their last. That's crazy. They've lost 2 of their last 10. And one of them was at Missouri, because Missouri is very tough at home. They're a very good home team. At least they were last time I was actually. What have they done lately? What have they done at home? I feel like they lost. Yeah, they lost to Georgia at home. That's right. Georgia and Florida are their only 2 home losses this year. And they're good at home, man. They got to play A&M tomorrow. That is the game. Like I said earlier, that's the game. That might be one of the better games of the week. Unless I'm missing somebody here. So, yeah, Florida's figuring it out. Arkansas looks like they're figuring it out on defense. We'll see if they can continue this, to move the needle in the right direction on defense. Auburn is going to be they're going to test you. Auburn's going to be the team to test your defense. Are you really playing at a better level or not? Obviously, now we got to keep an eye on Malik Ewan. You're already down Knox and DJ Wagner. No idea when those guys come back. Man, it's going to be an interesting weekend, and I really wish that was an 11 a.m. tip-off, but you know what? Whatever. It's going to be a fun game regardless. I say 11 a.m. tip-off for me. I realize it's better for Bud Walton Arena for it to be later in the night, or later in the day. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am. I love basketball. This is the best part. This is one of the best parts of the season because everyone's fighting for seeding now. Like, you've got a really good idea now of who's going to the tournament, right? Florida, Arkansas, A&M, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Alabama. Like, who's going to the tournament. Now it's about seeding and getting some wins you're not supposed to win, getting some games on the road that you're not supposed to get. That's what it's down to now. And again, there's certainly, if you have a collapse, you could be left out. That is absolutely a possibility because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games left of your. So yeah, I mean, if something were to happen and you just shit the bed and you lose some of these or several of these games, and yeah, then we're having a conversation about, oh hell, are they about to leave us out? but for the most part, we have a really good idea of who is out of the SEC, out of this league, who's in the NCAA tournament. Again, now it's all about seeding. So every win, of course, every win matters anyways. I hate that saying, but especially now, probably more so now than at any other point in the year. So, yeah, I agree. Let's win the conference. There you go. What's the highest seeding you think we can get? Pigpen says 4. No, I think they're probably going to knock on the door. I think I like where Lenardi has them right now as a 6. If you drop this game against Auburn and then you lose against Bama and you dick around and you lose a couple more of these games you're probably not supposed to lose, I could see Arkansas dropping down to like a 8 or a 9 seed. But most likely, and I know people want to argue the SEC tournament. It always seems like you got to really do something crazy in the SEC tournament to get any kind of real love once it comes around, once you get around to selection. But yeah, I feel like 5 is their ceiling. 5 seed right now is probably their ceiling. Now, again, if they beat Auburn and they do exactly what I'm not saying they beat them by 30 damn points. I'm not saying that, or 25 points. But if they dominate defensively, we see them do what they've done all year on offense, and then their defense comes with them. Even though it's inside Bud Walton Arena, then maybe we're talking maybe they can get into a 4 seeding if they can carry that the rest of the year and win all these games maybe outside of Florida, right? Yeah, then we're talking now we're getting up there in seeding, So, but I think their ceiling is most likely I'm going to say the 5 seed. I think is the cap for them. I think that's as high as they'll probably, if they were to play at their not their very, very best, but they play at their best, they're probably a 5 seed. That's probably where I'd put them. I don't know. What do you guys think? John says, I think we end up a 4 or 5 seed, no more than 2 losses. Well, a 4 seed, John, you got to play out of your ass. I mean, you've got to, yeah. That's going to require you beating. You're going to need to. You definitely can't get. You got to sweep Missouri, which is going to be really hard to do. And you've got to beat Auburn and A&M at home. Missouri, Texas, I think you should beat. Arkansas is just better than Texas. Yeah, you're going to play really high caliber of ball. And then, I don't know, maybe going to the SEC tournament, go on a run. I don't think you need to win it if all those other things happen during the regular season to get into the 4 seed category. But you're going to need to beat some really impressive teams in the tournament and not just 1 or 2. I think 4 seed is just feels like it's out of reach. But who knows, right? The next 2-3 games could tell us a lot. Maybe they can't. Maybe the 4 seed is within reach. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch how it all happens, though. I can't wait, man. Maybe they could. If they get 4 seed, damn, son. You're going to be hyped. You're going to be hyped out of your mind. They get a 4. Hell, I'm hyped right now. They're playing great ball. All right, everybody, that's going to be it. Again, no idea on hey, what's up, Brim? I'm about to end the show, man. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. Tomorrow night, I think we're going to try and go live. I don't know what the scheduling is. We're going to try, if not Wednesday night, maybe Thursday or Friday, or I might just put out another edited video. You talk about content YouTube doesn't push. Holy shit, they do not push my edited content. If you go to my channel and you click just videos, not live, you click videos, you'll see I dropped a video last week. They did not push that to anybody. So if you want to go watch that, maybe I'll do that again this week. Knock out some shorts or something. I don't know. Hell, you never know. But just make sure you like this stream, share the content, and hit the subscribe button. Make sure you have that notification bell clicked. Why was Acuff scheming? Why was Acuff scheming on smashing the B-Day cake on Coach Cal? I must have missed that. Yeah, it was Coach Cal's birthday. Did I see it was Bobby Portis' birthday too? I didn't realize he's only 31. For some reason, I thought Portis was like 35. I don't know. Maybe he just looks older. I don't know. I just was surprised he's only 31 years old. All right, everybody. You guys have a good rest of your night. I will see you. I will see you sometime this week. You guys enjoy the weather. I think we're supposed to continue to have good weather here in Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas. Enjoy it while we have it. And hell, I don't know. Is it going to be cold tomorrow? I thought I saw warm weather. I don't know. So, yeah, you guys have a good night, and I will see you at some other point this week. Be good.